you clicked on the thumbnail. So that's mission accomplished. In this video, I'm going to teach you how I made that thumbnail, everything I've learned about thumbnails because they're so important on YouTube. And I'm going to teach you how you can make thumbnails for free that will get more people clicking on your videos so you can get more viewers and more subscribers. That's what this YouTube channel is about, as well as property and personal finance tips. So let's jump into the free program called GIMP, and that's how I'm going to teach you how to make these custom thumbnails. Let's do it.
All right, we've downloaded GIMP, and now we are going to go to File. We're going to go to New. The dimensions that you need for YouTube thumbnails are 1280 by 720. Make sure you click Advanced, and it says here Fill with Background Color. We want to change that to Fill with Transparency. That's this checkerboard that you see in the background. Click OK. Let's go full screen. Now, if you don't see this window, if you don't see these windows, you can go to Windows and select them. It's Tool Options, Tool Layers, and Toolbox. All right, so you see these things. These are the rulers on the side. I'm going to drag in, just so I know what the center of my image is. I'm going to drag this to the halfway point. The halfway point of, what's it, 1280 would be 640. You can see in the bottom left corner, it says Add Guide and 640. So that's the halfway point, and you can do the same for the horizontal axis. So the halfway point of 720 is 360. And again, looking at the bottom left, I'm on 357, 358, 360. Cool. Great, so now I just know what the center of my stuff is. Now I'm going to go to my image folder. You can use a website called Unsplash for royalty-free photos, or if you're in the photo, try take a nice picture of yourself. A little hack is to use a mirror and the backwards facing camera on your phone, because that's usually the best one, so that way you can line your shot up to make sure that you're in frame nicely. So I took a photo doing that earlier. I'm going to use this photo. You just drag it across. Now, shortcut, use Shift-T to resize the layer. Hold down Control to keep the proportions, because otherwise it'll scale all funny. So we'll hold it down. My face is massive at the moment. Hold it down like that. Press Enter, and then it scales. Okay, you press M. M is a shortcut. You can see in the toolbox here, this is the Move tool, and the shortcut for that is M. Or you could just go to the toolbox and select it. But using shortcuts generally saves a whole bunch of time. Okay, still too big, so I'm going to go Shift-T again. I'm happy with the image placement now, so I'm going to right-click on that image. I'm going to say Duplicate Layer. We're going to need that in the future. And if you see on this left side here, you can untick these eyes, and that just shows what's visible. Okay, that's important. Also double-check that the alpha layer is there for each photo. So you right-click on the layer there, and if there was no alpha layer, basically the alpha layer is a transparency layer with the checkerboard. You'd have to say add alpha channel, but they're there already, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now what I want to do, I want to cut out the subject. So I'm the subject in this instance, so I'm going to cut myself out, and then we're going to add that cool white border to make the image pop a bit more. So you go to the toolbox, you click on the free select tool over here. Now, it's important to zoom in a little bit so you can see what you're doing. So I'm going to go to the bottom left, type in 200%, and you can hold down your mouse wheel like that and then drag, which is pretty helpful because then you can move around the image. So I've got my free select tool selected, and you can either do this and hold down and then click to add in another node. Make sure you're doing it just within the outline of your subject like that. Like that. The other thing you can do is click down on the mouse, and then you get the freehand tool, so that it's kind of a little helpful sometimes with the hair. Right now, if you've made a mistake, I don't really love the way I drew that. You can just press backspace and it goes back to the previous node. So I did that there. When using the freehand tool, it's not a bad idea to stop every now and then just to create an extra node, so that way if you make a mistake and you want to delete something, you can just press backspace and you don't delete the whole freehand thing that you did. Okay, we're going up like that. All right, I'm just gonna fast forward through this because I think you get the idea. Okay, so make sure you line up your final node with your starting node. Then you're going to go to select. You're going to go to feather. Now, the point of doing this is that you smooth the outline of your selection so it's not too drastic. You feather by 5. Then now you're going to have to go to select. Now you go to select, you go to inverse, and you can press delete to remove the background. You can also press clear in the edit section. There. If you make the background visible again, then you can toggle it between showing the background and not having the background. Now, I took this photo using my iPhone 11, so I was able to blur the background in the camera. But if you don't do that, you can follow these steps. Select the background image, then go to blur, go to Gaussian blur or motion blur, and then you can blur your background anyway. So that's quite nice. It helps the subject stand out more. Okay, so now we go to select none. We just want to smooth out the hair a little bit. So we're going to go to the smudge tool. We're going to select, I like using the 0.2 bristles brush and with the size of 20. And you can see this section is where the brush panel is. So that's where you select your brushes. And yeah, you just drag out your hair a little bit just to make it a little bit more natural looking and not so sharp. All right, what we want to do now is we want to create that cool white border around the subject. Okay, so you're going to right click on your subject layer. You're going to go to alpha to selection. That selects everything again. Then you're going to go to select. You're going to go to grow. And we'll grow it by that many pixels. Then we're going to create a new layer. And we're going to fill that layer with white. So we need to change the color of the foreground there. Select white. Then we go to edit and we go fill with foreground color. Boom, I just turned completely white, even whiter than I usually am. But all we do is we drag that white layer underneath the subject layer. And we've got that nice white border. Very cool. But we want it to stand out even more. So now that we've still got this selection, we're going to go back to select. We're going to go to grow. And we're going to grow it by a few more pixels. Now, I want to use my branding colors. So you create a new layer. My branding color is the background color at the moment. I changed it to the foreground color there now. You can choose any color you want. You just double click there and you can select any color. Like that. So this blue is one of my brand colors. And then I'm going to go there. I'm going to fill with foreground color. All right, but now the white's missing. So what we got to do is drag that blue layer underneath the white layer. Nice, standing out a bit more. But we want to give that bit more of a glow, a bit more of a blur. So we're going to click there. Right. And we are going to select blur and Gaussian blur. Now that is, you can see the edges there, how blurry it would be. So we'll probably select, let's go for 120. 120 should be good. And you can see it's got a nice blur. Click OK. And I'm glowing. I'm glowing, guys. Glowing for thumbnail makers. Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked with that. That's looking pretty cool. Now you can toggle back your background and you stand out from the background a whole bunch more, which is awesome. Now I'm going to show you how you can fill the background with a different color. So you create a new layer, drag that to the bottom, and you use your bucket drop tool, and you select the color that you want. I'm going to select my other brand color, orange, and just click there and fill. So lots of YouTube thumbnails look like that. It stands out quite a lot, especially with the text on there. But I like having my blurry background image show through, so I want to show you how to do that. Drag this orange layer above your background image layer. Toggle that back on. Then just above where it says opacity, you've got your blend options. So you can choose any of these and just play around, see what looks best. That's okay. Not great. Yeah, cool. I like soft light. Soft light works for this photo quite a lot, but you can experiment, like I said, if you don't want to just use a solid background color. So I think that's looking pretty good. It's standing out. The imagery is popping. It's quite eye-catching. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this so far, but my face is looking a little bit pale. So I want to fix the colors in that and make that stand out a bit more. So I'm going to go to my subject layer and I'm going to select curves under the colors section. I'm going to drag this down a little bit to play with the contrast a little bit more. Wow, already that is looking much better. You can toggle this preview button there, toggle it on and off to see how it affects things. Then let's play with the colors a little bit. Go to the blue one, drag the blue up. Okay, so that's increasing the blues. And let's compensate by increasing the yellows a little bit as well. That's too much. I look seasick, jaundiced. That looks okay. And preview. And yeah, it looks much better post. Color editing. Just basic stuff, but it kind of gives it a bit more of a punch. We are going to add our text now. So you click the text tool from the toolbox. Now you want to use a bold text that stands out. You don't want to use a cursive. You don't want to use cursive or anything too thin. Change the text color to black. How to make custom thumbnails. All right. Now it's all right, but it doesn't really stand out that much yet. So let's see about making it a little bit bigger. Repositioning it. Yeah, you can change part of the text to a different color or different size. So let's make custom a little bit larger. Okay, not bad. All right, what we're doing now is we're going alpha to selection. And we are going to grow that again. So we're making a white border. Now what we'll need to do is make a new layer and change the color. So we want the foreground color to be white, but the background color is white. You can use that as well. So we've got a new layer there. I'm going to go to edit, fill with background color this time. And you're going to drag that background underneath your text layer to give it the white border. Helps it stand out a little bit more. Now we still have the selection there. We want to give it a bit of a drop shadow. So we go there. We're going to go to grow. Grow it a little bit more. Then we have to make a new layer for the drop shadow. And we want the drop shadow color to be black. So we change the foreground there. Go to edit. And fill with foreground color. Drag that after changing the opacity. So let's change the opacity to 80%. And then we're going to drag that underneath the white layer. And we want to blur it up a little bit. So we're going to go blur. We're going to go to Gaussian blur. But we need to change the blur parameters. So that was way too big. Let's change it to 15. Right, we've got the drop shadow in there now. Standing out a lot more than it was before. Now maybe we could change the color of this custom. So we'll change that to blue, see if that helps make it pop a little bit more. Yeah, not bad. We'll go with that for tutorial purposes. Alright, so now I need to get the Photoshop logo and the YouTube logo. So you just type in basically into your browser, Photoshop icon PNG. Now you need a PNG one because that has the alpha layer. It's got the transparency, which is quite important. Pick one that's a good size. You can always scale it back down once you've dragged it into GIMP. Alright, so now you can drag it in to your layer section. Yep, it's huge. Okay, resize. So we go Shift T. Let's drag it down to a more manageable size. And select M to move it. All right, that's a better size. Let's just put it. Let's put it there for now. Probably move it later. All right, cool. So we've added in our Photoshop logo. We're going to add in our YouTube logo as well. Again, just type in YouTube icon PNG. Drag it down over there. Boom. Still too big. So we go Shift T. Shifty. Scale it. Press the M tool to move it. Let's move it over there. Okay. Now we're going to press Shift R to rotate it. Find a good rotation we like. And we're going to drag the icon layer underneath all the text layers. So drag it under all of the text layers. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this so far. We got the YouTube over there. Yeah, all right. Let's maybe cross out this Photoshop over here. Let's go again online. We'll type in a stop icon. So the stop icon is going to go above the Photoshop icon there. And we have to resize it. I think that'll be a good size. Next up, we need to rotate the text. So we do that by just using Shift R. Then we press M to move it. I want to rotate it a bit more actually. Press M to move it again. Okay, that's pretty cool. Right, a good way to see how it will look as an actual thumbnail on a phone or something is to change the zoom. So that's pretty good. We can maybe make the text pop out a little bit more, but I like how the green and the red, you know, kind of catch your eye. There's the no Photoshop thing over there. The image, the actual picture pops out quite a lot. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so I just want to give it a border to help it pop out a little bit more. So I go to my square select tool just on this background layer here, and I'm going to just select just within the lines basically. I think that is looking okay, and you can actually just bring it a little closer in there. Then I'm going to go to select. I'm going to go to border. I'm going to select border selection by 10. Makes it a little fatter. And then I'm going to, I've changed the foreground color. So I'm going to go to edit, fill with foreground color like that. And then I just want to drag this so that the image pops out a bit more. So I will drag it underneath that layer there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. See, now you can see the computer's popping out a little bit more there. My head is popping out over the border there as well. So you can see how it looks with or without. I think it helps a little bit. Let's zoom out. Back down to 25. See if it helps anything there. Yeah, I think it helps pop it out a little bit more, so we'll keep that in. All right, if we want to export it, we go export. You don't go save as. Save is to save the GIMP file. You want to export the image, and you title it as per your title that you're going to use on YouTube. So how to make custom thumbnails, no Photoshop. Okay, and JPEG, and then you just export it and you choose how big you want it to be, but that's default is usually fine. Export. Yep, and then we've got it. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. This is everything I've learned on GIMP in the last month, so don't be disheartened. It's very easy to learn how to do this stuff, and you can end up creating very customized thumbnails to help you get more views and more subscribers. If you don't mind, give this video a like and subscribe if you're interested in more YouTube tips or perhaps property and personal finance. You can go and watch my video on my favorite YouTube's tips creators. That's on my channel. I'll link to it in the description down below. Or you could watch how I've managed to live rent-free in a big city for the last 4 years. Also pretty interesting. So go check those out, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if this video was helpful. I will see you in the next one.
Yeah.